In August, yet another grooming gang scandal was revealed. And if we were to believe the media, the perpetrators of this would be Asian men. Channel 4 news reporter Kathy Newman came under fire on Twitter when she made the same claim. She replied by saying she didn't know the religion of the perpetrators and it's irrelevant anyway. But we know the religion of these perpetrators. All of us know it. 20% are called Muhammad. This blows Kathy Newman's argument out of the water and exposes the media's claim about Asian grooming gangs as complete lies. Muslim, not Asian.
It seems to me, you're more interested in the fact that these guys may or may not be Muslim. Now, I asked you, how do you know these guys are Muslim? And your answer was from the convictions, meaning that you've read the names, and in the names you said there was 50 people that were called Muhammad. Now, I could name you 5 people that I know called Muhammad that are not Muslim. Now, they've been given a name by their parents. Statistically, you're going to look at that name and you're going to condemn Muslims for the crimes of these guys, and they're not even Muslim. They don't pray, yeah, they don't go to the mosque, they don't believe Prophet Muhammad is there.
How do you know that?
Say that again?
How do you know that?
But this is the thing, I can easily argue that because from their behavior. Because their behavior is not...
You could, and I could argue the other way. I could argue the other way.
Yeah, you could, but then there's no proof. So I'm not the one saying Muslim, Muslim, Muslim. You
no,
are.
I
so
said
the onus would be on you to prove that they were Muslim.
Muslim, not Asian.
Kathy Newman is quite correct. We don't know the religion of the people in the specific grooming gangs Tommy reports on. Tommy's simply playing a naive name game.
Now, I could name you 5 people that I know called Muhammad that are not Muslim.
If the name appears to be one of a Muslim background, he labels that person and subsequently that gang Muslim. The contradiction here is that Tommy is on record professing knowledge that this method does not work, as some of his colleagues have Muslim names yet aren't Muslim.
But our first speaker on Saturday is called Mohammed. Our first speaker on Saturday was called Mohammed, actually. He's an apostate now.
He knows you can't label somebody Muslim just because they have the name, let's just say Muhammad, as one of their names. He knows this through experience. So do others. It's actually common sense. To illustrate this point, let me give you a hypothetical gang. Let's say this gang is in St. Ives. This gang has been caught for doing something quite nefarious. The names of the people in that gang include A. Rahim, A. Shazia, A. Islam, A. Ahmed, A. Muhammad, and A. Ali. Would you describe the St. Ives gang Muslim based on those names? That's a question for Tommy and his followers, would ya? Well, you should not, because I made that gang up to consist of Rahim Kassam, a non-Muslim colleague of Tommy's despite him having the name Rahim, which has basis in Muslim scripture. Mufassal Islam. He's got the name Islam as his surname. He's got to be a Muslim, right? No. He's a non-Muslim. He's a supporter of Tommy and an advocate for Anne-Marie Waters. There's also a Muhammad Fiaz in this gang. This is the man who Tommy was talking about. He uses the name Muhammad, although he's not a Muslim. He's on record saying he uses many names, but the primary name that he uses is Muhammad. There's also an Arif Ahmed in this gang. He's a renowned advocate for atheism, despite being called Ahmed. Ahmed, for those unaware, is a superlative form for the name Muhammad. There's also an Ali, a Mr. Ali in here, Michael Nazir Ali. He's a Christian bishop, despite having the name Ali. Ali is the name of one of the earliest converts to Islam. Do you not see the difficulty here? You just can't go around looking at somebody's name and then deciding which religion they are from. There's no certainty there at all. It would be like me claiming Tommy is a Christian based on his 2 names. Tommy, which is an endearing form of Thomas, and Stephen, that's Tommy's legal name, both of which are Christian names. Are we going to say Tommy is a Christian now? As far as I know, Tommy is not a Christian.
Of course I am, but I was brought up as a Christian. I'm not a Christian anymore, I'm an atheist. And most of the people who are brought up as Christians, whose parents went to Catholic or Anglican churches or whatever, are no longer that way. I don't think that that is true of all of them. I look at my nieces and nephews who grew up in Pakistan to Muslim parents. They've moved to the UK, to the United States. Most of them are agnostic, many of them are atheists, some of them remain Muslims.
Would you have called Christopher Hitchens a Christian simply because he has the name, or had the name, Christopher, which means bearing Christ? That's a traditionally Christian name, yet he was a famous new atheist. Sure, you all have examples of your own which can be testimony to this argument.
Muslim, not Asian.
The point to take away here is Tommy's insistence that we should call certain grooming gangs quote-unquote Muslim just because he saw the name Muhammad or Ahmed or Islam or Omar in the list of names. That's farcical. He knows this deep down. This farce is highlighted in its most ironic form with the Huddersfield grooming gang. That's the case which ultimately saw Tommy being convicted for contempt of court through his efforts of gonzo journalism. In the process, he was potentially risking a mistrial or a retrial. This is a picture from the Huddersfield court. Tommy's outside that court. This case, just so you're aware, was later moved and decided upon in Leeds, hence why Tommy was convicted in Leeds as well. The irony here is that the defendant that Tommy is filming has a Sikh name. This person's name was Singh, Raj Singh Basran. That's a traditionally Sikh name. Tommy and his audience were probably absolutely oblivious to this. For them, they saw an Asian bloke with a bit of a beard and presumably they assumed he was a Muslim. Not only this, in the Huddersfield grooming gang case, there was another defendant with a Sikh name, another Singh. His name was Amir Singh Dhaliwal. This just further highlights the naivete for Tommy to insist we label these gangs as quote-unquote Muslim. One of the gentlemen with the Sikh names, Amir Singh Dhaliwal, is reported by Tommy's colleagues as being the worst offender in the Huddersfield grooming gang case. What do you call these gangs that Tommy reports on when he puts his hat of a gonzo journalist on? I don't know. One thing that I do know is we can't go around calling them quote-unquote Muslim. It's not accurate. It's just ludicrous for the reasons I've already outlined, but also for the fact that using the word Muslim as an adjective to describe these gangs wrongly gives the impression that these gangs are behaving according to teachings of the Muslim faith. All aspects of the grooming procedure, from the beginning to the ultimate abuse, are un-Islamic, and hundreds of mosques up and down the country en masse have labelled these gangs as sinful and condemned by the Muslim faith. How can you go around giving them the adjective quote-unquote Muslim in that case? View the link below, which catalogues numerous Muslims denouncing the very gangs that Tommy uses for self-promotion and his agenda's propaganda. Be smart and red pill followers of the DFLA and Tommy. Share this type of information with these people, because one thing is for certain: Tommy and his peers won't be forthcoming in telling their flocks about this, because it's counterintuitive to their agendas. It impedes their money-making enterprises. Red pill them. Save them from being cash cows for people like Tommy.